24 Dura-Ace wheels. They just came in the mail today. I've been running around a rear Dura-Ace wheel for a while now, kind of as a replacement for a wheel I busted up. But I found a good deal on these, as you can for this wheel set, albeit they're a little hard to find sometimes. So I just got a new set. Came with a couple knickknacks. Came with some nice Dura-Ace wheel bags that I haven't opened yet. What else did it come with? I know I put this stuff away already. Now it comes with the quick releases. There's a little spacer in there to run 10 speed if you want. A couple Shimano spoke wrenches, nipple wrenches. Yeah, it comes with some good stuff. So we're not going to screw around. We're just going to go ahead and weigh these. Because, you know, that's why you guys are here. This is my beautiful Amazon Fine Non-Park Tools Heat of Fishing scale. Let's start with the front wheel, why don't we? Let's go ahead and scratch up the carbon laminate on these wheels. All right, we got 620 for the front wheel. The FWH 9100 C24 A, B, C, D, E, F apostrophe. All right, let's get to that rear wheel now. Let's get it right in the valve hole, why don't we? Let's call it 845 on this RWH 9100 C24. All right, so at this point, we all know the bike industry is pretty full of shit. So let's see exactly how full of shit the bike industry is. Shimano, I love them to death. I'm a diehard Shimano head. Let's take a look at their claimed weights. Claimed weight for the front wheel was 593. Rear wheel was 819, for a total of 1412, the claimed weight. Adding up my actual weights, it was 1465. So that's a 53 gram difference. You know, I don't know if they meant, maybe I should have read further, you know, without rim tape. But the rim tape included on this, you know, seems like of a lightweight variety. You know, 53 gram difference is a little substantial. You know, I've bought, you know, when comparing bike components, I've bought things specifically because it was 53 grams lighter, for instance. So, you know, shame on you, Shimano. Or not, you know, because I don't know exactly what the manufacturing process would yield as far as the differences in individual products. So continuing to weigh stuff, you know, obviously your quick releases are going to be included in this. I kind of like these 9100 quick releases. I suppose they don't need to be so chunky. The quick releases on these revolves are pretty nice too, and I'm not sure if these are titanium either. Really don't know. But let's go ahead. This is the rear quick release. 66 grams. This is the front quick release. 61 grams. So, you know, that's 127 grams for quick releases. There are some super tricked out quick releases you can shave weight off your bike with if you're interested. All right, so let's talk about these wheels and take a look at them in a bit more detail. Hopefully the lighting in here is nice. So these are not full carbon wheels, and they're also not full alloy wheels. They're carbon laminate wheels. And essentially, as I understand, you know, the brake track is of an alloy, probably aluminum. And the main rim body, you know, there might be alloy under this, but there's a carbon laminate over the main body. And you know, if the bulk of the body isn't made of alloy and it's made of carbon, naturally it's gonna be lighter. You can see the the spoke receptacles are kind of bonded onto the rim. These wheels are like pretty funky looking, and you know, you don't really see wheels like this too often. It's a pretty unique design. I don't know if there are other carbon laminate wheels out there from different manufacturers, but it's the only one I could think of off the top of my head. At what did we say before, 1465? You know, that's pretty light. I mean, it's not crazy light by any means. You know, there's some deep section carbon wheels that are about as light as this, but you know, that's that, you know. So these are 9100 C24s. The 9000 model, as I understand, are more or less identical, save for the graphics. And I think I like the graphics on these 9100s more than the 9000s. The 9000s kind of have like white, you know, the 9000 series of wheels from Shimano featured those like big white decals that I wasn't too much a fan of. These are a bit more murdered out, so naturally I'm gonna like it. These are the 9100 hubs. I think also they're identical to the 9000 hubs. I think they're aluminum with titanium internals. Don't quote me on that, I could be wrong. They kind of have the wider flanges that ought to make them kind of stiffer. They're hollowed out in certain areas to make them lighter. The spokes are all bladed. And I think these spokes are proprietary. At least the nipples are. I do have a set of replacement spokes because I did replace a spoke on my other Dura-Ace wheel that I mentioned earlier. And I couldn't find an individual spoke, so I bought a full set, and they were pretty expensive. So just a heads up about that. They're bladed spokes. What else can I say about this wheel? At least the rear wheel kind of has an asymmetric design. You know, here it's a bit more, let's see if we can see that, a little more flat there. On this side, it's a little more beveled in. And that ought to help with the stiffness. You know, it's beveled on the drive side. So maybe to compensate for the torque of the wheel as a whole. That could explain that design feature. It features an aluminum brake track, which is fantastic. You know, I don't think there's any argument that aluminum brake tracks perform better than carbon brake tracks. You know, it would have been really nice if they were anodized and these wheels were completely murdered. But, you know, whatever. So I basically got these wheels kind of more as a, you know, kind of a beater set. Well, not a beater set, but, you know, a set of wheels that I don't mind knocking around a little bit. Right now I'm exclusively running a set of CLX 32s on both my bikes. So I wanted to get a, you know, a relatively lightweight set of wheels that was still, you know, light, stiff, and perform well. Looked cool, but, you know, I could throw it on the SL5 and don't have to worry about dinging them up too much. So, yeah. So these are straight pull spokes too. I didn't mention that, both on the front and the back. The rear wheel, how many spokes are these? I don't know. I'll caption that in the video. The Freehub body is titanium. It's got this little, this is not a DT Swiss, a Freehub. It's got these little grooves. Damn, I remember reading an explanation for why that is, but I can't remember now. It can't just be for weight. I have heard from people that, you know, grit and grime gets like wedged in there under your cassette. Whatever. It is known of Shimano wheels that they feature cup and cone bearings. I'm not really inclined to try to fiddle around with that stuff and service them myself. I'm sure it's easy enough to do, but I've just never done anything like that. I think legitimately I would probably appreciate cartridge bearings a little more, just because I have a little bit of experience replacing cartridges. I understand this Freehub body features a pawl system, you know, and as opposed to a DT Swiss like ratcheting system, such as on this Revolve wheel set. These Freehubs are proprietary, I understand. You can only use these Freehubs on Shimano wheels, as opposed to the DT Swiss. And I really appreciate DT Swiss products for several reasons that I'll get into maybe in another video. What else can be said? Yeah, so it features the pawl design as opposed to the ratcheting design. And the pawl design is what, you know, bikes have been using for, you know, decades and decades. It's interesting, when I turn it really slowly, I can almost hear the multiple pawls engage at slightly different times. I don't know if that means anything really. Maybe the grease is a little thick in there. So that's the Freehub sound. I thought this when I first got this C24 wheel on my other bike, that the Freehub was kind of quiet. And I am not one of those people who, you know, prioritizes Freehub sounds, be that they are loud, quiet, or, you know, their timbre or pitch. You know, I really don't care. It's kind of got a unique Freehub sound, I will say that. And also I'll say, you know, I don't mind a nice sounding Freehub, but like the loud ones, like I think people genuinely pursue loud Freehubs, so much so that they remove all the grease from their Freehubs. That's crazy, man. Like, don't do that. It's stupid. And when I pull up on someone who's got a super loud Freehub, you know, I just kind of think it's incredibly obnoxious, and I don't know. If that, you know, forgive me, you know, if that's your thing, if you're into like loud Freehubs, you know, God bless you, but I'm kind of not. All right, guys, so I went ahead and put a cassette on this new Dura-Ace wheel. Maybe I'll do a video on how to swap cassettes out at some point in the future. But I've stripped down this older Dura-Ace rear wheel, and I kind of see a nice opportunity to do some science. You know, I mentioned the clean weights and the weights of individual components, individual products of the same model, possibly being of different weights. So let's go ahead and see how much this older 9100 C24 wheel I have weighs. The other one weighed 819. No, that was the claimed weight. The actual weight was 845. So let's see how much this guy weighs. This is the older one. You can see the grease from lockering. This is science, dude. So let's get it in that valve hole again. This is science. 870, 875. And this is the, you know, rim tape is exactly the same. Everything on here is the same. There's nothing on this wheel. 875. How much does the grease and the lock ring drag weigh? 875 as opposed to 845. Isn't that interesting? So anyways, so yeah, I stripped this old gator skin tire off the rear wheel, and the next course of action was, it's my plan to take these Continental GP 5000s off this revolve wheel set and throw them on the C24 wheel set. I didn't mention this earlier, but the C24 is known to be a pretty narrow wheel. I'd be a fool if I didn't do this right now. I've got my verniers. I don't remember exactly what I read about it, how narrow it is, but let's see for ourselves. External width is 22 millimeters. Internal is gonna be like, I think it was 19, I read. $14 millimeters. So yeah, that's a pretty narrow wheel. Let's do the front now, just for the sake of thoroughness. What's that say? 15 millimeters. External. Uh, 21 millimeters. So these GP 5000s are 25 millimeters. And Shimano says the C24s are fine to accept wheels up to 28 millimeters. I don't think running 25s would be the most ideal setup. And I don't know, there might be a bunch of horse hockey about, you know, running wider tires on narrow rims, and, you know, talk about light bulb shapes, light bulbing, and squirming, and deformation of the tire under torque and load. I'm gonna throw caution to the wind and just go ahead with it. I'll probably get a new set of tires for these revolve wheels. But these Continental 5000s are doing me pretty well, and I'd like to keep them on this SO5. So I'm gonna go ahead and get to that. Maybe not on video. Hey guys, how's it going? I got a Gatorade and a coffee. I'm on North 3rd Street in Brooklyn, and I've been riding these wheels around. I put those Continental GP 5000s on here, and I think they work fine. I mean, the tire's a little wider than the rim. They didn't really squirm around on me too much, as allegedly is the case with wider tires on narrow rims. I mean, these are 25s, they're not terribly wide, but it worked out just fine. And they look fine too, there's not too much light bulbing. I measured them with the verniers before I left. They are true 25 millimeters wide. Yeah. These wheels are great. You know, I did some sprints. I didn't do any gnarly climbs, but they were stiff enough. They rolled very well. Yeah, I'm happy to have a complete set now. I did have to reset my brakes. I had to pull the cables a little tighter because the rim is narrower. I had to swap out the brake pads I had from the Swiss Stop Carbon Black Prince pads to these Dura-Ace pads that I had laying around. But yeah, she's all set up, and This is going to be a great pair of commuter beater training wheels. Right, I had to move from where I was originally because they were doing construction across the street, and you can kind of still hear it in the background. So yeah, these wheels were plenty stiff enough, you know, running the CLX 32s and then throwing these on. You know, they're certainly not as stiff, and you can feel that. But for an alloy wheel, you know, they're great when you get out the saddle. I'm excited to test them when I climb, see how they work then. They stop 1,000 times better than the CLX 32s. Obviously, you know, with the aluminum brake track, you know, that helps a lot. I didn't expect this video to turn into Brooklyn street scenes. But yeah, they stop fantastic. That's a welcome relief. And that's why, that's another reason these make a great commuter, general purpose, beat around town wheel set. I don't know why this amuses me so much, but there's just a Polish pastry hanging from this tree here. The hell is that about? I don't know. Alright guys, so we're back at home. I got these wheels a little dirty on the way back, which I'm really bummed out about because I just washed my bike last night. So that's pretty annoying. But these wheels are fantastic. On my way home, I really gassed out on these. And I will say, you know, I hate having to constantly compare these to full carbon CLX 32s, but you know, they don't hold their speed quite as well as those guys. I don't know if it's the carbon or if the Rovols are a little more aero, because these certainly are not, by the way. But they climb fantastically. I hit a pretty steep hill on my ride home from work every day, and I mean, these guys carried me the way. They felt good. They didn't feel flexy at all. Yeah. So, you know, I rate these wheels pretty highly. You know, granted, I've only had one day's worth of riding with them, but yeah, you know, they're cool wheels. One thing I will say, and this would be very evident if I flipped this bike upside down and just spun this wheel, but these wheels are really unbalanced. And I had that problem with my CLX 32s as well, particularly the rear wheel. Maybe I'll do a video about kind of DIY wheel balancing. But it's a damn shame that these wheels, you know, come out of the factory so unbalanced, because they're not cheap. And you know, especially with the CLX 32s, these are marketed as high performance wheels. They're not cheap. They shouldn't come out the factory so imbalanced. There's no excuse for that. Shimano, shame on you. Revol, shame on you. I hear DT Swiss wheels and Campagnolo wheels are pretty balanced. But you shouldn't have to do that. So that's a thing. But aside from that, these wheels are awesome. They're pretty light, pretty stiff, and compared to a lot of high-end wheel sets, are relatively affordable. And Shimano knows that, you know, they kind of market these as their entry-level Dura-Ace wheel. I mean, I would kill for a set of Dura-Ace C40s, but you know, I don't have money to drop on that. Well, I think that's pretty much it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed. Hope you got some useful information out of this. Have a good one.